Nicholas Lancaster was having a perfectly good day, which should have been his first warning. His morning coffee was excellent. His meeting ended early. Nobody had annoyed him. The stock market was behaving. Life was beautiful. Then his mother called. "Nicholas!" The tone immediately concerned him. Victoria Lancaster only used that tone when she was about to destroy someone's peace. "Mother! Come home!" No, that wasn't a request. Nicholas sighed. His instincts were screaming. His instincts were usually right. Unfortunately, so was Victoria Lancaster. 30 minutes later, Nicholas entered the Lancaster estate. The moment he stepped inside, something felt wrong. His father was smiling. His sister Isabella was trying not to smile. Several board members were present, which was already suspicious. Then Nicholas saw them, the Bennett family, sitting comfortably in his living room. Like they belonged there. Like they hadn't spent 40 years trying to crush the Lancaster family. Nicholas stopped walking. Slowly. Dangerously. "Why?" Nobody answered. His gaze landed on Theodore Bennett. Theodore looked exactly as annoying as he remembered. Tall. Handsome. Expensively dressed. The human embodiment of a headache. Theodore met his eyes and immediately frowned. Good. Mutual hatred remained alive. "Nicholas!" Victoria folded her hands. "We have an announcement." "No. We haven't said anything." "I don't care." "Nicholas!" "No." "Nicholas!" "No." "Nicholas!" "Fine." Leonard Bennett stood. "Our companies have reached an agreement." Nicholas hated those words. Every single one. Agreement. Partnership. Collaboration. Synergy. Corporate words always led to suffering. Alexander Lancaster smiled. A strategic alliance. Nicholas felt sick. Victoria smiled. Nicholas felt worse. Then Eleanor Bennett smiled. Nicholas considered running. And then, the bomb dropped. "You and Theodore are getting engaged." Silence. Absolute. Complete. Silence. Nicholas blinked. Once. Twice. 3 times. "No." "Yes." "No." "Yes." "No." Across the room, Theodore spoke for the first time. "No." Nicholas turned. Theodore looked equally horrified. Finally, something they agreed on. Victoria looked pleased. "Wonderful." Nicholas stared. What part of this conversation sounded wonderful? The part where neither of you objected creatively. "We objected." "You said no." "That is an objection." Christopher Bennett immediately lowered his head. His shoulders were shaking. The traitor was laughing. "We're not getting married." Nicholas pointed dramatically. "That's Theodore Bennett." "Correct." "I hate him." "Also correct." Victoria nodded. "Anything else?" "No." "Excellent." The engagement announcement would be released in 1 hour. Nicholas nearly passed away. Meanwhile, across the room, Theodore looked exactly the same. Calm. Composed. Unbothered. Nicholas hated that. What Nicholas didn't know, what absolutely nobody knew, was that Theodore Bennett had been in love with him for 8 years. And this was rapidly becoming the best day of his life. Unfortunately, Theodore was about to discover that loving Nicholas Lancaster was a full-time occupation, with overtime, and no benefits. Top comments. Top comment. Theodore won the lottery, and has to pretend he didn't. 58.8K likes. Second comment. Christopher laughing because he knows exactly what's happening. 54.1K likes. Third comment. 8 years. Bro is starving. 49.7K likes. Fourth comment. Nicholas, I hate him. Theodore, looking at him like a lovesick fool. 46.2K likes. Fifth comment. The mothers definitely planned this. 44.9K likes. The engagement announcement was released at exactly 6 o'clock. At 6:01, Nicholas's life ended. Nicholas! The office door burst open. Felix Reyes stormed inside holding his phone. Behind him came Jenny, then Rose, then Lisa, then Lily, then Jessie. Nicholas immediately frowned. "Why are all of you here?" Nobody answered. Instead, Felix slowly held up his phone. Nicholas looked and nearly passed away. Lancaster heir engaged to Bennett's CO business rivals to become family. Theodore Bennett and Nicholas Lancaster announce engagement. Nicholas closed his eyes. I can still fake my death. No, you can't. Jenny sat down. People would notice. I can wear a disguise. You have been on magazine covers. Damn. Jesse grabbed his phone. Worse. What could possibly be worse? Jesse showed him social media. Nicholas regretted asking. There were edits. Thousands of edits. Someone had already made a slow-motion compilation of every interaction Nicholas and Theodore had ever had, including one from 4 years ago. Nicholas didn't even know cameras had been present. What psychopath made this? 3 million people apparently. Lisa replied. Nicholas nearly screamed. Meanwhile, across the city, Theodore Bennett was experiencing a completely different problem. Christopher had entered his office and refused to leave. Theodore looked up. Christopher was smiling. That was never a good sign. What? Christopher dropped his phone on the desk. A video was playing. Theodore accidentally watched 5 seconds, immediately paused it. Christopher's smile widened. Interesting. It appeared on my screen. You watched it. For 5 seconds. You replayed it. You replayed it twice. Theodore hated older brothers, especially his. Across the internet, things got worse. Far worse. Because someone discovered a photograph taken 8 years ago. At a charity gala, a 17-year-old Theodore Bennett was standing in the background, looking directly at Nicholas Lancaster. The comments exploded. Theodore wanted to die. Christopher wanted to frame the picture. Meanwhile, Nicholas remained blissfully unaware until Rose entered the group chat. Rose. Found something. Jenny. Oh. Lisa. Show us. Lily. Spill. Jesse. Now. A photograph appeared. Nicholas frowned. What am I looking at? The group chat went silent. Painfully silent. Nicholas. Rose finally typed. Look at Theodore. Nicholas zoomed in. Theodore was looking at him. So. Nobody responded. A full minute passed. Then. Jesse. He's impossible. Lisa. I can't do this anymore. Jenny. 8 years. Rose. 8 whole years. Nicholas. Lily. I quit. Meanwhile, across the city, Theodore received a notification. Amelia Bennett had posted something, which was never good. Theodore's little sister. New post. Picture 1. Nicholas. Picture 2. Nicholas. Picture 3. Nicholas. Caption. Finally got the brother-in-law I've been wanting for years. 2 hearts. Theodore. Christopher. Ha 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 ha. Theodore immediately called her. She declined, then blocked him. Christopher nearly fell off the sofa. Unfortunately, the Bennett family betrayal wasn't finished. That evening, the entire family gathered for dinner. Nicholas was invited. Against his will. Theodore was also present. Against his will. The moment Nicholas entered, Eleanor Bennett stood up. Nicholas! Nicholas smiled politely. Mrs. Bennett. Eleanor immediately hugged him. Theodore stared. Christopher stared. Leonard stared. Nicholas stared. Eleanor sat back down. We should do family dinners every week. Theodore choked. Nicholas choked. Christopher started recording. Immediately. Mother. Theodore sounded horrified. Yes, dear. We are not married. Not yet. The entire table froze. Christopher dropped his fork. Leonard looked away. Eleanor covered her mouth. Nicholas blinked. Slowly. Very slowly. What? Theodore realized his mistake. For the first time in years. Theodore Bennett, CEO, business prodigy, corporate genius, wanted the ground to swallow him whole. Christopher was already sending messages to everyone, including the group chat. Unfortunately, everyone saw, and Nicholas still had absolutely no idea what was happening. Top comments. Top comment. Theodore said, not yet, in front of God and everyone. 94.8K likes. Second comment. Christopher recording his brother's downfall in 4K. 89.1K likes. Third comment. Nicholas is collecting evidence and somehow still doesn't know Theodore likes him. 84.3K likes. Fourth comment. Amelia posting Nicholas 3 times and calling him brother-in-law is crazy. 80.7K likes. Fifth comment. The Bennett family would sell Theodore for Nicholas's one smile. 77.4K likes. 6 comment. Nicholas, what is happening? Everyone else. He's in love with you. 72.9K likes. The problem started 3 days later. Actually, no. The problem started when both companies hired a PR team. Which was somehow worse. Absolutely not. Nicholas crossed his arms. Absolutely yes. The PR director crossed hers. No. Yes. No. Yes. Nicholas pointed accusingly. This is ridiculous. It is necessary. No. Your engagement approval ratings increase by 37% when you're seen together. Nicholas looked horrified. That's worse. Across the table. Theodore looked calm. Suspiciously calm. Nicholas narrowed his eyes. You knew. Theodore didn't answer. Nicholas gasped. You knew. Christopher immediately looked away. Because he was about to laugh. Again. Theodore. Nicholas pointed dramatically. You planned this. I did not. You sound guilty. I always sound guilty. Fair. Unfortunately, the PR team had already made their decision. For the next 2 months, Nicholas Lancaster and Theodore Bennett would be living together. In a penthouse, for public image purposes, Nicholas considered becoming a monk. Theodore considered buying the PR company. To thank them, Christopher considered selling tickets. The move-in day was a disaster. Mostly because Nicholas brought everything. And by everything, we mean everything. Boxes, plants, more plants, an alarming number of hoodies, a coffee machine, a second coffee machine, a third coffee machine. Theodore stared. Nicholas! Yes! Why? I like options. Christopher nearly collapsed laughing. 3 hours later, the penthouse looked less like a luxury residence, and more like Nicholas had colonized it. Theodore secretly liked it. He would never admit that. Then, the real problem arrived. His name was Machi, Nicholas's dog, a tiny white Pomerian. Tiny, fluffy, harmless. Theodore hated him immediately. Not because Machi was annoying. Not because Machi barked. Not because Machi destroyed a cushion within 20 minutes. No. The problem was that Machi had decided Nicholas belonged to him. And only him. Nicholas! Yes! Machi is growling at me. Nicholas looked over. The dog was indeed growling. At Theodore, while sitting on Nicholas's lap, like a tiny dictator. Oh! Oh! He does that! Theodore stared. Christopher was going to love this. The next morning, Theodore woke up early, prepared breakfast, made coffee, reviewed 3 contracts, answered 12 emails, and then walked into the living room, where he discovered a tragedy. Nicholas was asleep on the sofa, one arm hanging over the edge, Machi sleeping on his chest. Nicholas looked comfortable, happy, peaceful. Theodore frowned. Machi was touching Nicholas. A lot. Theodore disliked that, for reasons he refused to examine. Christopher arrived an hour later, because apparently he had decided the penthouse belonged to him too. He took one look at Theodore, then at Machi, then back at Theodore. No. Theodore immediately frowned. What? Are you jealous of a dog? No. Theodore. No. Theodore. Christopher started laughing. Theodore hated older brothers. Things got worse. That evening, Nicholas returned from a meeting. The second he entered, Machi sprinted across the penthouse, past Theodore, past Christopher, past common sense, directly into Nicholas's arms. Oh, my baby! Nicholas immediately picked him up. Machi looked pleased. Theodore looked betrayed. Christopher looked delighted. You are jealous. I'm not. You absolutely are. I'm not jealous of a dog. Sure. Christopher took out his phone. Theodore's eye twitched. Unfortunately, the evidence kept accumulating. A week later, Nicholas posted a photo. Nothing unusual. Just him and Machi. Caption: My favorite man Redheart. Theodore nearly died. Christopher nearly achieved enlightenment. Amelia screamed. Eleanor screamed. The group chat exploded. Theodore. Who is that caption referring to? Nicholas. Machi. Theodore. Christopher. He asked. Amelia. He asked. Jenny. He asked. Lisa. He asked. Rose. He asked. Jessie. He asked. Lily? He asked. Nathaniel? He asked. Felix? Bro asked. Theodore? Leave me alone. That same night, Nicholas walked into the kitchen and found Theodore kneeling on the floor, face to face with Machi. The dog looked unimpressed. Theodore looked determined. What are you doing? Theodore froze. Machi barked. Traitorously. Nicholas waited. Finally, Theodore sighed. I'm trying to negotiate. Nicholas blinked. With my dog. Yes. Machi isn't a person. Theodore looked at the dog. The dog looked back, then stole Theodore's seat. Again. I disagree. Nicholas laughed. Actually laughed. Theodore immediately forgot what he was saying, because Nicholas was smiling. And apparently Theodore Bennett's greatest enemy wasn't Nicholas Lancaster. It wasn't business rivals. It wasn't hostile takeovers. It wasn't the media. It wasn't even Christopher. It was a 6-kilogram pup named Machi. And he was losing. Top comments. Top comment. Theodore losing to a dog is the funniest thing that has ever happened. 128.7k likes. Second comment. Who is that caption referring to? I am dying. LMAO. 121.4k likes. Third comment. Theodore really said back off to a poodle mix. 118.9k likes. Fourth comment. He's negotiating with the dog help. 110.2k likes. Fifth comment. Machi is Nicholas biased just like everyone else. 105.8k likes. Sixth comment. Christopher is having the time of his life. 101.3k likes. Seventh comment. Theodore Bennett, billionaire, CEO, threatened by 6 kilograms of fluff. 98.6k likes. The disaster began on a Tuesday, which was rude. Nicholas liked Tuesdays. They were usually peaceful. Unfortunately, not today. At exactly 9:17 a.m., Maria Laurent posted something, and the internet lost its mind. The post contained one photograph, just one, a picture of Nicholas Lancaster, standing at the airport, smiling, actually smiling, and running towards someone. The someone in question, Olivia Sinclair, childhood friend, family friend, professional menace, CEO, and one of the few people capable of making Nicholas drop his guard completely. The photograph continued. Nicholas reached Olivia and immediately hugged her. The internet exploded. Nicholas Lancaster's secret ex returns. Former flame returns from Europe. PS the engagement in trouble. Who is Olivia Sinclair? Nicholas stared at the headlines. What? Felix looked over his shoulder. Oh. The internet thinks Olivia is your ex. Nicholas blinked. Then laughed harder, then nearly fell off his chair. Felix looked concerned. Are you okay? No. Nicholas wheezed. No, I'm not. Unfortunately, Theodore was not laughing. Not even a little. Christopher entered Theodore's office, immediately stopped, and sighed. Oh no! Theodore was staring at his laptop, which was never good, especially when Nicholas was involved. What happened? Silence. Christopher looked at the screen and immediately understood. Oh, the Olivia thing. Theodore looked murderous. Christopher sat down. This is going to be funny. It isn't. It absolutely is. Meanwhile, across the city, Nicholas was meeting Olivia for lunch. Like normal people. Because they were normal people. And friends. Nothing more. Absolutely nothing more. Nikki! Olivia opened her arms. Nicholas immediately hugged her. Liv! Across the restaurant, 3 people gasped. Someone dropped a spoon. A waiter nearly walked into a wall. The internet was never seeing heaven. You've gotten taller, Olivia said. I am 26. And fair. Olivia smiled. You look happy. Nicholas snorted. I'm living with Theodore. Olivia started laughing. So hard she nearly choked. Oh. You have no idea, do you? Nicholas frowned. No idea about what? Olivia stared, for a long moment, then looked toward the ceiling, as if asking God for patience. Nothing. Olivia. Nothing. Nicholas narrowed his eyes. She was hiding something. Definitely. Unfortunately, Nicholas had the investigative skills of a decorative pillow when it came to romance. So he let it go. That evening, Theodore arrived home and immediately found Olivia sitting in his living room, eating his snacks, next to Nicholas, holding Machi. Theodore froze. Machi froze. Olivia smiled. Oh, the famous fiancé. Theodore narrowed his eyes. The famous ex. Silence. Nicholas blinked. What ex? Theodore blinked. Olivia blinked. Christopher, who had appeared out of nowhere, started choking. What ex? Nicholas repeated. The one the internet invented. Olivia replied. Oh. Wait. Nicholas sat up. People think we're dating. The room exploded. Christopher fell off the couch. Olivia nearly dropped Machi. Theodore closed his eyes. Because somehow, Nicholas had only just figured it out. You just realized? Christopher wheezed. The headlines were confusing. Nicholas! They use a lot of dramatic words. He wasn't lying, though. Nicholas! Olivia laughed so hard tears formed. Theodore looked like he was reconsidering every life choice he'd ever made. Then, the betrayal happened. Olivia turned toward Theodore and smiled. Theodore immediately distrusted that smile. Correctly. You know. No. You've been in love with him for years. The penthouse froze. Nicholas blinked. Once. Twice. Then pointed at himself. Who? Olivia stared. Christopher stared. Theodore stared. Even Machi stared. You. Olivia said. Nicholas looked horrified. Theodore. Theodore looked like he wanted to launch himself through the nearest window. Then Olivia burst out laughing. Christopher burst out laughing. Machi barked. Nicholas looked confused. And Theodore realized, with absolute certainty, that his suffering would never end. Later that night, Olivia posted online. Photo. Nicholas. Photo. Nicholas and Machi. Photo. Theodore looking annoyed. Caption. For legal reasons, I am not the ex-face blowing a kiss. The internet exploded again. Top comments. Top comment. The famous ex. Loudly crying face, loudly crying face, loudly crying face. Theodore is fighting invisible enemies. 173.8k likes. Second comment. Olivia said he's been in love for years and Nicholas asked who. LOL. 169.2k likes. Third comment. Even Machi was tired of Nicholas's density. 160.7k likes. Fourth comment. Theodore versus Olivia is my new favorite rivalry. 154.9k likes. Fifth comment. Not the caption. For legal reasons I am not the ex. 149.1k likes. Sixth comment. Christopher appeared out of nowhere just to laugh. 144.4k likes. Seventh comment. Theodore Bennett, CEO, business genius, losing to a dog and a childhood friend. 138.6k likes. The announcement arrived on a Friday. Nicholas was eating breakfast. Machi was eating Theodore's breakfast. Theodore was pretending not to notice. Christopher was taking pictures. Life was normal. Then Eleanor Bennett entered the penthouse. Smiling. Everyone immediately became nervous. Even Machi. Nicholas. Mrs. Bennett. We're going on vacation. No. Yes. No. Yes. No. Your mother already agreed. Nicholas froze. Oh no. 3 days later, the Lancaster family, the Bennett family, the entire friend group, and Machi were boarding a private jet against Nicholas's will and Theodore's dignity. The luxury island resort was beautiful. White beaches, crystal water, private villas, sunshine, paradise. Unfortunately, everyone was there. Jenny, Rose, Lisa, Lily, Jessie, Felix, Nathaniel, Julian, Maria, Olivia, Amelia, Christopher, Isabella. Too many witnesses. Far too many. The first disaster happened within 20 minutes. Because Theodore discovered something. A horrifying thing. A terrible thing. An unacceptable thing. Nicholas couldn't swim. What? Nicholas blinked. What? You can't swim. Correct. You are 26. Also correct. You grew up rich. Nicholas looked offended. What does that have to do with swimming? Fair. Theodore looked genuinely distressed, which was unusual. Theodore usually looked mildly annoyed, or severely annoyed, never distressed. Nicholas! What? You can't go into the ocean. I wasn't planning to. Good. Olivia snorted. Oh, he's spiraling. He is. Maria agreed. I can hear it. Theodore ignored them. Failed to ignore them. Attempted to ignore them. Then things got worse. Because Nicholas walked toward the beach. Theodore followed. Immediately. Nicholas turned around. Theodore! Yes. Why are you following me? I'm not. You are. I'm walking. Behind me. Coincidence. Christopher nearly collapsed into the sand. By day 2, Theodore had somehow become Nicholas's self-appointed safety officer. Nicholas, wear sunscreen. I did. More. Nicholas, drink water. I have water. More. Nicholas, where are your shoes? Why? Where are your shoes? Nicholas, don't climb that. I'm literally standing. Nicholas! Theodore! The entire resort was crying. Then, the progress happened. Tiny. Microscopic. But progress. It happened during dinner. The group had gathered at a long table overlooking the ocean. Everyone talking. Everyone laughing. Everyone bullying Theodore. As nature intended. Then a server approached. Young. Nervous. And unfortunately attractive. Mr. Lancaster. Nicholas looked up. Yes. The server smiled. Brightly. I just wanted to say I'm a huge fan. Oh. Could I maybe get your number? Silence. The table froze. Immediately. Felix stopped eating. Olivia sat forward. Maria looked delighted. Christopher whispered. Oh, this is going to be good. Nicholas opened his mouth. Probably to decline politely. But before he could, Theodore set down his glass. Very carefully. The sound echoed. The server looked at Theodore. Then immediately looked scared. Theodore smiled. The smile was worse. Unfortunately, Theodore said, he's engaged. Silence. The server looked at Nicholas. Nicholas looked at Theodore. Theodore looked at the server. The server looked at God. Oh. Yes. Oh. Very engaged. The server fled. Actually fled. A full 5 seconds passed. Then, Christopher started laughing. And couldn't stop. Very engaged. Theodore closed his eyes. Jenny was crying. Rose was crying. Lisa was crying. Even Nathaniel looked amused. Very engaged. Olivia repeated. Do engagements have levels now? Maria nearly fell from her chair. Maybe we're witnessing premium engagement. Theodore hated all of them. Nicholas stared. At Theodore. Longer than usual. Because something felt strange. Not bad. Just strange. Theodore looked annoyed. But not at him. Never really at him. Nicholas thought about the airport. The Olivia rumors. The dog jealousy. The constant following. The constant worrying. The way Theodore always noticed when he skipped meals. Or looked tired. Or seemed upset. A thought appeared. Small. Weak. Barely alive. But present. Maybe Olivia wasn't completely joking. Nicholas immediately rejected the thought. Because that would be ridiculous. Right. Across the table. Theodore looked over. Their eyes met. For a moment. Neither looked away. Then Christopher kicked Theodore under the table. Hard. Theodore nearly choked. Progress was cancelled. Top comments. Top comment. Very engaged. Loudly crying face, loudly crying face, loudly crying face. Bro unlocked a new engagement tier. 248.4k likes. Second comment. Theodore became a human restraining order. 239.7k likes. Third comment. Nicholas finally had one thought. 228.3k likes. Fourth comment. The server asked for a number, and Theodore started a territorial display. 220.9k likes. Fifth comment. Not Christopher kicking him before character development could happen. 213.5k likes. Sixth comment. Very engaged, is going on a t-shirt. 206.1k likes. Seventh comment. The density cracked. There is a crack. Everyone stay calm. 198.8k likes. The tropical storm arrived on the fourth day. The weather forecast had warned them. Nobody listened. Especially Nicholas. Nicholas! Yes! Take an umbrella. I'm walking 20 meters. Nicholas! Theodore. Nicholas. Theodore. Nicholas. Theodore. Christopher was recording. As always. 10 minutes later. It started pouring. Absolutely pouring. The sky opened. The wind picked up. The rain came down sideways. And Nicholas Lancaster, professional businessman, 26 years old, future president of Lancaster Group, got caught outside. Theodore found him running back to the villa, completely soaked. Nicholas. I'm fine. You look like a drowned rat. I'm a wealthy drowned rat. Fair. The problem appeared later. At dinner. When Nicholas sneezed. Once. Then twice. Then 3 times. Theodore froze. Olivia froze. Amelia froze. Christopher froze. Even Machi looked concerned. Nicholas blinked. What? Theodore slowly put down his fork. Oh no. Nicholas immediately frowned. Why are you saying that like I'm dying? Nobody answered. Because they all knew. Theodore Bennett was about to become unbearable. By midnight, Nicholas had a fever. A tiny fever. A microscopic fever. Barely a fever. Theodore acted like civilization was collapsing. Nicholas, drink this. No. Drink it. It smells terrible. It helps. It smells like betrayal. Theodore pinched the bridge of his nose. Christopher was laughing so hard he couldn't breathe. He's literally at 37.8. Theodore ignored him. Nicholas. No. Nicholas. No. Nicholas. Fine. Victory. Theodore looked far too pleased about that. Around 1 in the morning. The villa had gone quiet. Everyone asleep. Everyone except Theodore. And Nicholas. Nicholas sat wrapped in blankets, looking miserable. Machi sleeping beside him. Theodore appeared with tea. Again. You already gave me tea. This is different tea. Nicholas stared. Theodore. Yes. Do you sleep? Theodore. Occasionally. Nicholas laughed. Weakly. But laughed. Theodore immediately forgot what he was saying. Again. Nicholas noticed. And for the first time, actually noticed. The pause. The look. The way Theodore's entire expression softened whenever he smiled. A strange feeling settled in his chest. Because Theodore didn't look annoyed, or frustrated, or obligated. He looked fond. The realization hit. Tiny. Terrifying. Why did Theodore always look at him like that? Nicholas frowned. Theodore. Yes. Can I ask you something? Across the room. Theodore immediately straightened. Dangerous. Very dangerous. What is it? Nicholas hesitated. Then, unfortunately, a loud crash echoed from outside. Everyone woke up. Immediately, Christopher burst into the room. The palm tree fell. Amelia appeared. The big one. The big one. Olivia appeared. No way. Within 30 seconds, the entire villa was awake. And Nicholas's almost realization died a tragic death. Theodore looked toward the ceiling. Because apparently, even nature was betraying him. The next morning, Nicholas felt better. Theodore looked worse. Because he hadn't slept. You stayed up all night. Theodore froze. You did. Theodore looked away. Nicholas stared. Because people didn't usually stay awake all night for someone they disliked. Or tolerated. Or merely worked with. That weird feeling returned. Small. Persistent. Growing. And for the first time, Nicholas didn't immediately dismiss it. Top comments. Top comment. The palm tree interrupted the character development. 312.8K likes. Second comment. Theodore said, occasionally, like sleep is a hobby. 304.1K likes. Third comment. He noticed the fond look. Everyone stay calm. 299.7K likes. Fourth comment. Theodore turned a tiny fever into a national emergency. 291.2K likes. Fifth comment. Christopher bursting in with palm tree news is cinema. 284.4K likes. Sixth comment. The density is evolving. I repeat, the density is evolving. 276.5K likes. Seventh comment. Theodore Bennett would absolutely fight a storm for Nicholas. 270.9K likes. The problem with charity galas was that rich people attended them. Nicholas hated rich people. Which was unfortunate. Because he was one. Nicholas. Yes. Stop glaring. I'm not glaring. You're glaring. I'm observing. Menacingly. Theodore adjusted his tie. Nicholas hated how good he looked. Not in a weird way. Just. Objectively. Very objectively. Across the room, Christopher nearly walked into a pillar. Oh my God! Amelia looked up. What? Nicholas just checked Theodore out. Silence. What? Amelia gasped. He did. No, I didn't. Nicholas immediately protested. You did. I didn't. You absolutely did. Nicholas hated this family. The gala continued, and unfortunately, Theodore was popular. Painfully popular. People approached him constantly. Investors, executives, old family friends, and women. Lots of women. Nicholas didn't care. Obviously. Why would he care? Then a woman touched Theodore's arm, and Nicholas immediately disliked her. Nicholas frowned. Why did he dislike her? She hadn't done anything. She seemed nice. Theodore wasn't even smiling. So why? Oh. Felix suddenly appeared. What? Nicholas snapped. Felix stared, then smiled. Slowly. Dangerously. Oh. What? Oh no. Felix. Oh no. Nicholas became nervous. Felix only smiled like that when he was about to ruin someone's day. You look jealous. Nicholas nearly inhaled his drink. I what? Across the room. Jenny heard. Immediately choked. Lisa heard. Immediately screamed. Rose dropped her phone. Lily fell out of a chair. Jessie started recording. The friend group had been waiting months for this. I am not jealous. Nicholas looked offended. Of course not. Felix replied. Far too quickly. I'm not. Sure. Felix. Okay. You don't believe me. No. Fair. Before Nicholas could defend himself, a new disaster arrived. His name was Victor Ashford, CEO, arrogant, annoying, and apparently incapable of minding his own business. Mr. Lancaster. Nicholas turned, immediately unimpressed. Mr. Ashford. Victor smiled, the kind of smile people practiced in mirrors. I've been meaning to congratulate you. Thank you. Though I must admit. Oh. Christopher looked up from across the room. Oh. Olivia looked up. Oh. Theodore looked up. Very oh. The engagement surprised me. Victor continued. Really? Of course. Victor laughed. I never expected Theodore Bennett to settle for someone so. Silence. The room froze. Nicholas blinked. So. Victor smiled. Ordinary. The gala died. Immediately. Jenny stood up. Rose stood up. Lisa stood up. Lily stood up. Jessie stood up. Christopher stood up. Olivia stood up. Even Amelia stood up. Theodore was already walking. Fast. Very fast. Victor suddenly realized he'd made a mistake. A terrible mistake. Theodore stopped beside Nicholas. Come. Far too calm. Then he smiled. Christopher immediately whispered. Oh, he's dead. Victor looked nervous. Correctly. You think Nicholas is ordinary? Theodore asked. Well. No. Victor stopped speaking. Theodore continued. Let's be clear. The entire room listened. He's smarter than half the people in this room. Silence. More capable than most CEOs I know. More silence. And a better person than you could ever hope to be. The silence became physical. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Victor looked like he wanted to disappear. Theodore stepped closer. And if you ever speak about him like that again. The smile returned. I'll make sure you're remembered for it. Victor evaporated. Actually left. Immediately. The moment he disappeared, the room exploded. Christopher screamed. Amelia screamed. Jenny screamed. Rose screamed. Lisa screamed. Lily screamed. Jessie screamed. Olivia looked emotional. Nicholas looked frozen. Because, for the first time, someone else's words echoed in his head. 8 years. Airport. The fever. The dog jealousy. The waiting. The following. The way Theodore always looked at him. The way Theodore had just looked at everyone else. Then at him. Like he mattered. Like he always had. And suddenly, for one terrifying second, Nicholas wondered. Not what if. Not maybe. But, what if everyone had been telling the truth this whole time? Across the room, Theodore looked over. Their eyes met, and for the first time, Nicholas looked away first. Top comments. Top comment. He looked away first. 421.7k likes. Second comment. Victor Ashford died live on stage. 410.4k likes. Third comment. Theodore said Nicholas is smarter than half the room and I felt that. 399.8k likes. Fourth comment. The density has received critical damage. 388.2k likes. Fifth comment. Everyone standing up ready to defend Nicholas loudly crying face. 377.9k likes. Sixth comment. Christopher's "Oh he's dead" was a prophecy. 365.1k likes. Seventh comment. Nicholas finally started connecting the dots. Only took 7 parts. 354.6k likes.